All right, everybody on in here already. What's going on, Steph? Great to see you. Thanks for commenting. As always, we appreciate it. Like, subscribe to the channel if you guys have not already. We're just going to get into this post-match review. No, never make it easy. Finally got the job done, but even though offered virtually nothing. Yeah, I mean, listen, we'll get into that. We're just going to let some people circle on in here for the time being. We get that, and then we could move forward. With everything. Wow, we got a few retweets already. Yeah, just keep commenting if you haven't already. I want to get it. Just want to go to the team. Excuse me, the team photo gallery because I want a picture of Bartesaghi. Yeah, so Nicola's here as well. So let's get into it, Santangelo. Milan beat Verona 1-0 over the weekend now. Match was delayed by 25 minutes because they waited till the last second to go and check the pitch to see if it was deemed okay to play on. And then eventually it ended up being okay. Completely new formation that caught a lot of people off guard. Change in the middle of the week. Completely different than what we thought was in our preview for the match. We don't see no Okafor start. We see Olivier Giroud get a ton of minutes. Jovic comes on for him. Then Okafor subbed on for Leao later on. We see Musa get his full debut for Milan as well. We see that 3 center back pairing at the back where Chow, he got the yellow for dissent, but eventually played a great match, I thought. Florenzi, inverted left back. How many times have I said this, that this is what's going to happen? He did get Bartesaghi the minutes. So there we go. If you had Pioli getting a teenager some minutes by match day 5, you win bingo, man. I mean, listen, that's very impressive. It's hard to see that from him. So your overall thoughts of this? I mean, just happy to take the 3 points, or
Yeah, our I guess in our preview video, I said 2-0 Milan. I said goals from Leao, so check that one off.
Yes.
Very nice finish with the left foot.
Yes.
And then I said Okafor, assuming of course Okafor was going to start. He didn't. Giroud got the start, which I don't know. I don't know what Pioli is waiting for to give Okafor his.
Can't get any minutes versus Cagliari. He can't get minutes against them. It's dangerous.
Well, he's getting minutes in games where it's like we're supposed to just try to see the game out. He did that in the game against Roma, where Okafor did the job to help press and win the ball back and retain possession. But it's like he's an attacker. You want to see a guy like him get forward, and he had that little moment when he did come on that gave us a glimpse of what he can provide. But some of the substitutions from Pioli, at least the timing of them, was very strange. I was hoping to see Okafor or Okafor was terrible. I mean, he had his one moment. He didn't get much of the ball.
You're entitled to your opinion, but I think that's fine. That's why we're here. Disagree even more.
I was referencing the Roma game where he came on in a match where we were down a player, and he was really just more so there to hold the ball and try to win possession and kill the clock. He's not coming into matches where it's 1-1 and you bring him on for 30 minutes and you could put him forward and see if he can do something. So that was a bit strange. I think the timing of this, given how the game was going, Verona started to press high up, and they were basically forcing Milan to just hoofing the ball down the field. The second half, we didn't have many chances. We were trying to play more off the counter, swing the ball right to Rafael Leao.
Pulisic and Musa probably had the best opportunities in that half.
Yeah, there were instances too where Pulisic looked frustrated. He didn't have the best game at all, to say the least. I thought Musa looked pretty solid, all things considered. But yeah, I mean, just kind of tying it all back to what my general thoughts are. Just happy to get the win. The pitch conditions weren't good. 1-0 is not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see 2-0. Us really push the game forward. See this one out and win convincingly. But at this point in the season, you just want a victory, especially after the couple of results we've just had. So good to get the clean sheet, though. Again, big shout out to Sports Yellow. Big shout out to Picayo, Malik Chow, the back line. And making sure that we didn't really have too much to worry about. It was 3 points, but we'll take them.
Yeah, exactly. So to get to a couple other talking points, we'll start with the Leao goal. First of all, scored all 3 of our last goals in our competitions. I mentioned this on the podcast in the middle of the week with Rocco Baldassare. So again, guys, in the comments section below, Spotify link to that Milan podcast. Again, go and check out the past episodes if you have not already. But my point was, Leao's the guy who's actually producing. So if everyone else wants to go at him, whether it's newspapers to say this or that, I mean, like he had 15 non-penalty goals last year in Serie A, okay? Mario Balotelli never did that. He took a ton of penalties. Some of his best seasons involved 4 to 5 penalties in there. That's a striker as well, by the way.
Yeah.
So to get to that point where those comments were made by supposedly a respected newspaper is just embarrassing, because the fine lines in between someone who's a complete waste of talent that never accomplished something as a focal point like Leao did at Milan, or the best player in the world. So how about we figure out what we're doing here? Because it's embarrassing to see this constantly, that we have to just see one poor performance where, okay, yeah, he has trouble being consistent as a finisher, but so do plenty of other players in this sport, okay? And they still don't create and do the things that he does. This is the funniest part to me. He comes in, he contributes immediately within the first 10 minutes. He's the one making that run behind the defense. He's finishing with his weak foot when the goalkeeper's coming out to him and almost catching him. So, like, what else is he supposed to do? By the way, the point of difference in this game, again, is Rafael Leao. Milan's past 2 wins in Serie A have been the difference because of Rafael Leao. So I don't know where these newspapers get these comments from or why they think that they could say things like this. It's just incredibly stupid, and it only makes them lose respect from everybody else, including myself.
But Martino, this is kind of classic sports media, Italian media. I mean, if Milan are doing well, they're riding that wave and they're praising Leao as this player, that player, world class, this, and this. But if things are going bad, obviously they're going to just try to capitalize on that bad moment. And, when you get slapped around 5-1 by your rival Inter, and then you have what you did in the Newcastle game where he missed the most clear-cut chance, and a chance that you'd expect a player of his caliber to convert, well, then that's where you're going to get those headlines. And whether they're warranted or not, I don't think we should try to make sense of what the media does as far as putting out headlines, newspapers. Anyone who watches the game knows that you have to take more into account with Rafael Leao, because you're right. Like 15 goals, he had double-digit assists last year. This is a player that doesn't take the penalties for Milan. If he was taking the penalties for Milan, you can realistically add almost another 3 to 4 goals, maybe 5 on his tally from last year because of Giroud. And even in the first part of the season, right? How many penalties has Giroud converted? If Leao's the guy taking those, right? We're talking about a whole different type of player where he has maybe 6 goals already. So, like, pump the brakes, guys. Like, Leao he's the difference maker for this team in the attack. You see, if Giroud is not able to play with, Leao, and he's not able to be immersed into the game, he's pretty much isolated. He really is not much of a factor at that point, which is why I wanted to see Okafor so badly in this game from the start, to see how these players can interchange throughout a match and how we can at least put ourselves in a position where this game is 2-0, maybe 3-0. And now all of a sudden you're not, trying to scramble to finish this one out.
Yeah. Other point to be made here. Sorry, I'm trying to pull it up.
No, you're fine.
We got our guy Bartesaghi with his debut. Listen, physically looks prepped and ready to go there. Really quick. Unfortunately, couldn't get that one cross off, but I love the aggressiveness and the confidence of a young player at that age coming on the pitch and trying to make an impact. I think this was the play that ended up being a goal kick, but what else can you say? You get those debut jitters out of the way. You get on the pitch, a perfect match for this. And this is where it kind of gets frustrating with Pioli, because it's like, yes, we love what you did here. This made so much sense, but why haven't we seen this in other instances? It's kind of frustrating, but I just wanted to give a shout out to him, Bartesaghi's debut, and our guy Florenzi, who we met at the 40/40 Club in New York City. I thought he's looked good this year. So far.
I thought he did the job for us. Yeah, I thought, this is the type of professionalism and the type of veteran performance you'd expect to see, right? In a match where it's like, all right, we want to rotate. We want to give certain guys a breather. Florenzi, I thought, even looked good in the Champions League game too against Newcastle. But I think that in certain moments like this and throughout a season, that's where Florenzi becomes a valuable player. Now, this isn't a conversation of whether, he's getting paid too much. We have to move on from him. It's strictly looking at the player's role within this team and whether he did the job when he was called upon. And Florenzi absolutely did the job for us. I think he's a player that, maybe he's never going to stand out and have this spectacular performance anymore due to his, recent injuries, his age creeping up there. But I think, the professionalism, the way he's going to play a more like rounded, refined game and do the small things to help you win in a pinch, I think is what I would probably describe his performance as. And I think, you can kind of combine what he did alongside the back line, because I think there were moments where he dropped in, he covered his ground going forward. He was, doing a pretty bang up job. So I definitely have to give Florenzi his love there, because I think, he's a player that put in a good performance when we needed it today.
Yeah. So this comment by you want Okafor to play centrally? Yeah, I mean, listen, he's capable of also being a center forward. I know he can play left wing. We've said this almost every single
We've also
podcast.
said that we could expect him within a match to rotate. Like, that's kind of what I wanted to see, because I think, whether you think he can be a prolific goal scorer, essentially, he's a player that he can run in behind. He can move a little more agile than Giroud. So when you have that mobility between them three throughout a match, you have parts going in and around that attack. And I think you give your team a little bit of a different element. What we've seen when it's Giroud and Leao, Giroud's done a good job since he's been here. There's no denying that. But in matches where you have like Davidovic and some of these defenders that are draped over him, he's not getting the ball and is going to turn upfield. He's not going to do that. He's never going to be that player that does that for us. He's a player that's going to seize the moment in the box or convert from the spot and convert that way and get goals. And that's needed, no doubt. But in a match like this, you wanted to just kind of get an idea of like, okay, what can we do with Okafor playing central? Can he rotate in? Can you have that interchange between Rafa and Pulisic on the flanks? Like, that's kind of what I wanted to see. And in a match like this, for us to say, well, he played horribly. Well, we're up 1-0 and the pitch being this way, and he's coming on in a game where we're not really bombing guys forward. So how do you
every single appearance has been the same thing for him
doing his team from an attacking standpoint, when the game script doesn't really call for him to take that risk forward, is what I'm pretty much saying.
Yeah, and he also did take that risk forward, by the way. He was the one who crossed that ball across the face of net, but Jovic stopped that run, and he stayed there more centrally towards the penalty spot instead of actually crashing on it. The cross by Okafor was fantastic. You see the blistering speed that very few players within this league possess, and not only that, they can't even keep him in front of them. It's got to be honest. And just one thing that just like I remembered at this point in time, Yassine Adli, Bigfoot. 0 minutes. The guy can't get minutes. And by the way, Krunic left the match with a muscular issue. And that's what we've been talking about too, because we're sitting here now with the player that we know has to take responsibility for this role while Benacer is out till February. And we're sitting here starting him playing tons of minutes when we have other players that you deem capable to play in that position. And now we might have gotten the 3 points, but we're sitting with, we have to wonder that he's not going to be ready to face Cagliari. So without him against Cagliari, now Milan are going to have to make a makeshift midfield. He's
going to go Pobega.
Well, Pobega out left. I think he's going to put Reinders centrally because he's already alluded
he's not
to.
Going to play Adli. Why would he play Adli?
No. But that's the point, though. I'm not clamoring for Adli to start. You know that I don't mean that, and I think everyone else does. What I am saying, though, is that why can't we get him to feature minutes? I'm totally fine with Pobega coming on in the situation. Yeah. That doesn't really bother me. I don't dislike Pobega like that. What I'm saying is that if you deem someone to be good enough in a certain role and this club needed more finances, then you should have sold the player that would have gotten you back some money. So it doesn't really make sense to me in that sense. It's really frustrating to kind of see that transpire, because now we're sitting where maybe he does play against Cagliari and he shoves the words back in my mouth. It was a 1-0 game and maybe he doesn't trust him. But I'll tell you this, Yassine Adli couldn't debut on there, but yet he still trusted a 17-year-old Bartesaghi to make a debut. Yeah. So I mean, you tell me what's good with this, because it's very frustrating to see this, because now, God forbid, Krunic is out for an extended period of time. Hopefully he'll be okay for the Lazio match. I don't see if he has a muscular issue. Again, Theo Hernandez.
Muscle fatigue.
But both of our fullbacks, our main starting fullbacks, by the way, muscle fatigue as to why they did not play or even suit up for this match. So just so you know, guys, already with this. Again, I thought the ball by Jovic to Yunus Musa, really nice, by the way. Hello, Omar. Marsangelo. That sounds like a really nice restaurant that would open in Boca.
It sounds like a spin-off of like Chicken Marsala or something.
Um,
um,
what about this? I think defensively, I think we were fine. I know there were instances in that. I wouldn't
yeah.
actually put it on the defense. I thought the midfield was very sloppy today. I don't think the midfield
Yeah, I
played that
didn't think.
great.
Yeah, I think the presence of the midfield the past couple of games has been a bit frustrating. I think in the first couple of games we were able to really control some of the games through the midfield. Loftus-Cheek, Reinders, Krunic. That was the midfield three that through the first three matches I think we were able to kind of like lean on in moments. I don't know. It's just the midfield that hasn't stood out to me the past couple games.
Yeah, right.
Um, but defensively, I think more so for the overall morale and like the psychological aspect, like getting a clean sheet at home, I think was absolutely necessary. And that's pretty
We
funny.
got a big fan, Sabrina's son, Luca.
That's
Hello,
awesome.
Sabrina.
Shout out to
Thanks for the
Sabrina.
support.
Shout out to
Luca, hello,
Sabrina and
buddy.
Sabrina's son Luca.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get Sabrina on to talk one day when she's not, doing her motherly duties. But yeah, no, I think that I just kind of sticking to like more so like the little like topic here is Musa.
Yeah.
I was
Sorry.
happy with Musa's start. I think that he's got a sort of like an engine to him that I like, and I think in certain moments he knows when he just to kind of slow the game down, play the simpler balls, kind of keep things like that. But I think look, this was a performance that I didn't like overall. I think there were individual players that did some things. This isn't a performance that I think is something that we frankly can lean on.
Yeah.
Because any
I agree.
better team is going to score goals. Verona is one of those teams that probably are going to be battling relegation in my eyes at some point.
I agree with
They
you.
just don't really have much of a threat going forward. So Milan were never going to face a plethora of chances in that sense, which is why I think they were pressing so high up the pitch just to try to create something. But overall, I think in most matches, if Milan come up with this type of performance, they're either going to drop points or they're going to lose.
Yeah.
So with all that
I
being
agree.
said, again, you take the 3 points, but you take it with the idea and expectation that this can't be common. This can't be, a theme for this team. Otherwise, they're going to have much more difficulty getting 3 points.
Yeah, and again with Musa, I mean, you see the yellow card there. I think he was pretty active the entire match. Again,
Yeah.
this is I know the performance was not great. I know we don't want to take away too much from it, but I think a massive part of it has to do with the formation change. That's a big thing to switch up on players that are
Mm-hmm.
still getting assimilated with one another. We talk
Yeah.
about guys like Musa who haven't really had that much playing time to assimilate with the rest of the squad. Guys are still a little bit out of position. Three at the back with Chow, Kier, and then obviously Tamori. I think it's just really difficult to kind of makeshift that in the middle of the week, say go out and do something like that. And again, Demo, I think this is the big thing that
Of
everybody
course.
has a problem with is the finishing of the chances.
Yeah.
Stop, Omar. Stop it. You just asked for Pulisic to get out of the club. This
Omar's killing me.
you're a jackass. Enough. And it's unsubscribed, Omar, on this. But no, I mean, listen, with the Pulisic thing, it's really funny to see Americans now. So we're Italian American. We have no reason to dislike or shit on Pulisic. So I just want to get this out of the way because I've seen so many idiotic comments and I feel really bad for Tactical Manager who does a great job. Subscribe to his YouTube channel if you haven't already. But like he's like just trying to be objective about it and saying like, listen, Pulisic did a lot of good work off the ball. That's what helped contribute to the first goal, and that's great. But my counterpoint to all of this was, Matt, Alexis Salamaker's worked hard off the ball all the time. Okay, we technically don't need that. What we need you to
Yeah.
do is step up and produce. I thought he did better in the second half. It was really sloppy from him. That's the kind of stuff that happens. It's frustrating. We know that. He's not going to be consistently great. He still played out of position on the right side. So we all know he's far better on the left.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that he needs more continuity, but I don't understand how Chukwueze doesn't see the pitch today either. Can anyone else explain this to me? I really am confused by all of this.
Well,
Because of rotations.
but this is what I mentioned too when we did our video at Rocco.
Yeah.
And I said this in the beginning of the season, like, okay, how does Pioli manage that right wing spot, right? Because Leao is going to be stuck on that left. He's going to sit there. More the chances than not, it's just going to be the conversation between choosing Chukwueze or choosing Pulisic on a given match day. He went with Chukwueze in the Champions League. And today, obviously, he went with Pulisic, who started the first 3 games for Milan and did pretty well, right? So I think that having that healthy competition is going to be important. But I think you don't want to fall into the habit of playing Pulisic when, he didn't have his best performance today. He didn't. I'm going to be objective. I'm going to be honest as I see it.
Fair
He
enough.
didn't have his best performance. And this is where, again, I wanted to see Chukwueze. I wanted to see, we saw Chukwueze start the game. I want to see when you give Chukwueze 40 minutes off the bench, how he can kind of insert himself into the game and make the difference. What I was hoping for was, hey, we're up 1-0. Man, this game is kind of in limbo. Milan really do need to get a little bit of something extra going forward. Bring in Chukwueze maybe create something, and then you get a goal.
And he
now the
looked
game's
good
2-0
too.
and
It's
you
not
win.
like he didn't deserve minutes.
No, I'm not saying that. I just think
No,
that's
no,
the
I
sort of
know, but I'm
play.
just saying like the overall point of like
Yeah, yeah.
why he would do this or think this. It is
Yeah,
frustrating.
yeah. No, for sure. I mean, you take the win. I get it.
I
And I
don't
think,
think he's going to Caliber.
yeah,
I
I
think
can definitely see Chukwueze getting the start for sure.
Chuk got a start in the Champions League and he didn't get any minutes today. And we're on a shortened week where the turnaround's on Wednesday. He's going to be doing that. He's going to be starting.
And Pulisic played like today was a sloppy, gritty, hard game for us to win, as far as like the pitch, the delays, everything. Like we had to grind to the very end to get the 3 points. And Pulisic was visibly frustrated, like slipping, not unable to keep his footing. So like it would be the right thing to do to just say like, all right, Chuk, start the game. If we have to bring Pulisic on for 15 minutes at some point, maybe we can. But I think it would be best to get a player like Pulisic like a full breather. But you have to, in order for you to give Pulisic a full breather or to give Giroud, take him off earlier, is for you to be in positions where the game is killed off. And we haven't been really able to do that. Like the Roma game, the red card, kind of ruined things for us. And in the game like today, like if you get 2 goals, Giroud's off. I think Jojovic comes in earlier probably, and away we go, right? But I think that's kind of the next step that Milan have to hope to get, is where they can get into games and these teams and these matches get killed off earlier. Yank the players that have that injury, concern, like Pulisic. You don't want to play him in a match like this the full time against Verona, where it's like, if he slips and he rolls an ankle, now maybe you're out for a couple weeks. So like, I just want Pioli to kind of manage the game better in that sense.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, it's going to be, again, an interesting conversation to have as the season progresses, how he manages and rotates in.
Absolutely. I don't think Jovic was awful either. There was just a couple of instances, it's his first match, striker position. Again, with some of the backups, he's not getting the greatest of service. I thought his pass to Musa was fantastic.
Yeah.
That really opened it up. And again, Musa, that's a hard angle. I know. So like he had the right approach on that shot, in my opinion. You just have to rip it at that point.
You basically just test the keeper. Like, all right, look, I'm going to test the keeper to make a good save. Yeah,
exactly. Because he has to react quickly. He has to hit it properly.
Yeah.
Like we see shots get slightly deflected all the time off of the keeper and go in. I mean, look at what happened with Andre Onana midweek, where he has to go and clamor for an interview with CBS because of his mistake. Again, Giroud, I just worry for him. There is nothing that I had against him. It's heavy minutes. It's heavy minutes. Like we just need to be cautious with this. Anyone else will wonder why there was 6 minutes of stoppage time, by the way. We just want to talk. Where does 6 minutes come from? How does that happen? On what? It was just substitutions. There was no penalty reviews. There was no goal scored. Like, I don't know where 6 minutes comes from. I don't get it. There's no way there was that amount of subs that we got 6 minutes there. Just silly and nonsense. Your man in the match.
Sportiello, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, like, I know Leao scored the goal.
I understand.
Valid. But I think this game could have been 1-1, I think, pretty easily. Like, the defense did a good job. I'm not saying they didn't do a good job.
Yeah, it was just.
But I think like there was a couple instances where you're like, well, we need Sportiello to come up with a key save, and it wasn't anything like absolutely spectacular. But I think when you have to go to your backup goalkeeper, who's your main goalkeeper, is very, very good, and you have to say, hey, like, we need our backup goalkeeper to do a job. And he does the job, and he gets a clean sheet. I think that warrants some respect and some praise. So I'll give it to Sportiello in this. I think it's pretty fair.
Tomori, couple for Sportiello. I think Sportiello looked really good, man. It's tough. I mean, I don't think Rafa had his best game, but I don't think anyone on the right side helped him out. Loftus-Cheek came on, looked good too, by the way.
It's probably a defender. It's probably a defender or Sportiello, I would say.
I mean, Magnani, by the way, how do you not get a yellow card for faking getting hit in the face? I hate that. I hate that. Listen, I'm not a big guy, right? This is all well documented. I'm 5'7". When I used to like play men, right, in grown ass men leagues, where guys are like 6'4", 6'5", where I would go shoulder to shoulder with them. I know it's technically not aligned like that, but the point is they go down and act like fucking babies. I don't know what it is. If it's not in it, like I cannot stand how fucking soft people are in this sport. It irritates me because I'm used to playing basketball and getting very physical with people. I was kind of ruthless in that sense. I don't understand how you could act like a grown ass man like that and pretend that you got hit when there's nothing on your face. Like, get up and stop being a bitch. Like, straight up. Like, I hate that. It's just
to be fair, Leao did have one of those instances in this game
did.
too, where he
but yeah, what comes around goes around, though, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And it was really funny to see
sure.
Magnani do what he did to answer back like that. It's just funny to me how showmanship goes on one side. Stuff like that, I think, should be reviewed for a yellow. Like that. Honestly, I know you can't get a red card for it, and I know you don't review yellow cards, but unless it's like to see for a red card. But my God, he barely touches him. Nothing happened. I would go. I'm gonna go Tomori. Honestly, I think Tomori put in a really good shift yet again.
Too. We
I think a lot of them. Let's see. Zion says Jovic. Yeah, I think he's gonna get a good chance. We'll see.
It just depends on Jovic real quick. It just depends on, because I know they said that he basically said in his introduction press conference that like he's not ready for so like how many minutes can you expect to play from him from the start? And like that's why I was basically calling for more so Okafor to play over Giroud, because I think you can't, in my view, based on what we do know, we don't watch training for Jovic to see how he looks. But I think that's where I kind of wanted to see Okafor start. And then if you wanted to bring on Giroud in a match where the game is hanging in the balance to see if he can make the difference, or you bring on Jovic as a different type of profile, that's fine. And I'm just looking at here with
So I'll read this real quick. This is just an update on Krunic. How is Krunic? Unfortunately, I think he has a muscular problem. He felt something in his flexor, and there was definitely something there. I can't know the extent. I think it will be difficult to see in the next matches, but we have other characteristics and players. He goes on to mention about Yassine Adli in that role, and now he will have opportunities to do so. Not like he could have done it today, but not like he could have done it today.
He waits until there's a problem, then to act.
There's reactive managers and there's proactive managers. And that's all I'll say on that. There are other midfielders. We can change something up front. The important thing is the boys are well together, compact, united, and willing to, in difficult matches like today. Whatever. 3 points are 3 points. We can't complain too much. But my goodness, man, the call is coming from inside the house, Pioli. The call is coming from inside the house. This is your fault for this. The guy's been playing every goddamn match. This is your fault. Like you push the limits of players. This is what happens. And again, you deemed Yassine Adli good enough to be at Milan. And I like Pioli. I think he's a good manager. But my goodness, sometimes just want to lose your mind by reading or hearing some of the things that he says. I think that's silly, that quote. How do you allow that to happen? You let that happen. How many minutes? How many minutes does the guy need?
For some rotation, like everyone's been saying, like, hey, let's give Adley a blow. Like, Krunic is playing the full 90 pretty much every game. Like, quick turnaround. Like, I don't get why we have to wait until there's a problem then to give the player the opportunity to play. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
And by the way, plural there, matches. So clearly out for Cagliari. We'll see what happens. We have Lazio and Dortmund afterwards. You tell me. We know this. I'm pretty sure it's Olimpico for Lazio. Could be wrong. But it's away for Dortmund. Whatever, bro. I said this months ago. I've been saying it for since June, dude. Like we've been talking about this. We knew Benacer would be out. This is why we clamored for it. You want to put Reinders out of position, then you live with the consequences, because that's what's going to happen. So we'll see. And he himself, if we want to talk about Reinders for a little bit, I think he's hit a little bit of a rough patch. Got off to a good start.
Yeah.
Kind of seems like he's struggling a little bit. I don't know if you share that sentiment.
A little bit more of like a passenger in the midfield. I would like to see him be the type of player that I think we saw, in the first 3 matches against Bologna, Torino, and Roma, where I think he was like picking up the ball, moving forward. Like he seems like he's kind of just like getting the ball, passing it. We're not seeing the same sort of injection by him into a match where I think he can do a little bit more from a creativity sense, get forward a little bit more, do things like that. This game was tricky, and this game was a little bit weird because I think the personnel we switched up in the midfield, right? It was Krunic and Reinders, then you
But you
had
will see it.
Florenzi and Musa. So now you're trying to like insert Musa into this whole equation when in the first 3 matches it was Krunic, it was Reinders, it was Loftus-Cheek in a 3-man midfield. So it's like I can't be too hard on Reinders. I think he's still a player that is adapting. I think the one midfielder that's really been the biggest mainstay for us, I think it's pretty obvious, at least from a newly acquired standpoint, has been Loftus-Cheek. Even when he came on in this match, like he can kind of pick up where the game is, and he can hold the ball. He can win fouls. He can charge forward. We win a free kick. Like he can do those sorts of things. I think with Reinders, I want to see him be a little bit more aggressive to get into matches and to make an impact versus being passive. And it just sometimes depends on the flow of the game too. So I get it, but I'm not worried. Again, these are earlier in the season. Like if my biggest criticism is like, hey, we win the game, but this player was a little bit disappointing. That's okay. Like we have to remember that Reinders is new to the system. He's new to the league. He's going to pick up. He's going to get into rhythm. He's going to get into form. So I can't be too hard on him. But yeah, I would agree. I think obviously the past couple games has been a little bit underwhelming from not only him but a lot of the players because 5-1 to Inter, and then this match was by no means an easy one.
Yeah, I think the past 2 Serie A matches midfield wise have been very difficult to watch. The Newcastle match was fine. By the way, can't forget it because we covered it midweek, but hats off to the Primavera boys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cooking with some fucking gas, I might say. It's just like it's incredible to see a former Milan player in Abate. He was a great servant for the club. Unfortunately, he had to retire early because of those eye issues. I thought he could have actually aged well as a center back. He did pretty well in those seasons. I don't know if you remember those. I believe Gattuso was still the manager. But yeah, man, he's got these guys playing great. Again, follow Scout 7 Calcio for a lot of updates regarding the Primavera squad, a lot of other tactical analysis. But again, Camarda was playing well. Scotti is the guy who really made another impact against Juve today. Again, 3-0 against Juve's under 19. Abate has them playing well. This is a reflection of Milan's management further developing the Primavera system. I think it's great to see. Hopefully they keep and continue to take strides. We're going to have, by the way, I didn't tell you this yet, so I'll just tell everybody. We're going to have Roberto Rojas on sooner than later to talk about Hugo Cuenca, who is of Paraguayan nationality, to discuss him and how he's been doing at the Primavera level. Almost every single time you watch the kid, he's making an impact on the pitch. So that's great to see. So again, I don't want to show the Primavera highlights, guys, because I don't want to get any strikes regarding that stuff. Back to the 4-3-3. I think you see that this week. Really hope Abate comes to succeed and prove it. Yeah, we'll see long term with that. But I got to say, really happy for the performance. Not the performance, more so the result for Milan. Again, you pick up 3 points. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We're only at 17 likes. Hopefully you guys not hopefully if you missed the first part, but if you did miss the first part of the stream, please go back at the end to go and watch it. You can go and watch it underneath the live tab on the YouTube channel if you missed it already. So it'll be there post-match for you to watch. Any final thoughts before we head out here? Because we've been on for like 35 minutes. Again, we appreciate it, guys. 54 people tuning in on YouTube. It's just great. We've had a community here. YouTube shows the analytics of people returning and staying. We appreciate every single one of you, truly. And it's helped grow the channel so much. I think we can get to 5,000 subs. Hopefully, that's my ambitious goal for the end of the year. the calendar year at least. I think we can hit 5K subs, and you guys are the reason behind that. So again, like, share, comment, subscribe. Give us a rating of 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Unfortunately, someone had us dock down a little bit. Pretty annoying to see that. Even if we disagree sometimes. Oh, hi, Matt.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of
And that's
course.
fine, though. And Matt and I try and be respectful like that. We don't go on 9-hour streams shitting on other people that we don't know or ever talk to, because we're just not that kind of those kind of people. Because I think it's disgraceful to act like that.
We appreciate you guys. Yeah, we
Yeah.
really do appreciate you guys in the comment section. I know we did a lot of like pre-recorded stuff so far, and we put it out, and obviously the comments are flooding in
Yeah.
on YouTube and on Twitter when we post the videos. But we appreciate the live interaction, especially after the match. I think we get really good discussions when we were doing this a while ago. The discussions are always good. We see a lot of regulars. So, oh hi, Mats. I think that's what your name was. I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong.
Correct.
Yeah, more than happy to agree. And I think, as long as we're able to have that discourse and conversation and keep it peaceful and civil, because we're all Milan fans, we're all trying to get good positive results. So thank you guys. Yeah, thank you, Steph ACM, for joining. We do appreciate
Steph's
it.
always commenting on the channel,
yeah,
watching full
no,
videos or shorts.
that's what we're
Appreciate it.
here for, guys. Like, and if you guys want to have that conversation, just pop on in, share us around with your other Milan friends, and yeah, we'll keep this thing going.
Yeah. So we'll try and figure out something, because we try and do the podcast every Wednesday. The Cagliari match is obviously on that day. I think at that point, Santangelo and I will probably just do a live recording of the podcast as a post-match review if we're capable of doing that. Sabrina, thank you for the #1 support as always.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Let's see if you want to come post-match with Lazio. We're going to try and get a guest for that. You know what's like really funny about this league is that you can only really get fans or like other people / reporters for like 5 or 6 teams, because no one else, like, does anyone know like a English speaking Verona fan has content?
No,
There's nobody.
I do actually. I think I do actually have someone.
Well, that's really funny.
If we do one for the reverse leg, then we're the
Oh
reverse
yeah, you're gonna
fixture.
have to do the reverse leg. Hi, Mass. We appreciate it as well. Again, we have 3 points, and that's all that matters, guys. Now you can enjoy the rest of your weekend, like I was talking about. Not too much to worry about. I think we'll be okay. If he was alluding to flexor, that could be a hip flexor issue with Krunic. Those really vary in between. It could be weeks, could be a week or 2. It really just depends on pain tolerance. So as long as it wasn't a tear, we're good. Again, yeah, I don't know English speaking Verona players, stress-free. We'll see what happens. But again, guys, the very important part is this. Milan's very, very difficult start to the season in Serie A. 5 matches through, Milan have 12 points. And I think that's a really good step forward, because we have also picked up points against sides that we should have absolutely beaten when we faced them. Inter, it could be a toss-up in that sense, right? We could be happy with a draw. We were willing to say that. But 12 of 15, Matt, after every single match we played, we said that before the season. I'm happy with it. I'm taking it. So your final thoughts before we head out.
No, I don't think I have anything else left to add. 3 points, no matter how it happens at this stage of the season. We're going to get into rhythm. We're going to find solid footing, and hopefully we do it without many injuries or issues of that sense. So, yeah, thank you guys for joining. And, yeah, we hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah. Again, subscribe, like, comment. Other than that, see you guys on Wednesday.